everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chia, and today I'm going to be going through all the book series that I'm in the middle of. I've counted and there's over 20 plus series that I'm in the middle of currently, and I want to go through them, and I figured that this was the best time right now because it is December and towards the end of the year. So I want to go through and figure out which are the series that I want to continue with, and there's going to be different categories that I'm going to be going through. One is book series that I'm in the middle of that I finished all the books that is in the series. I'm waiting for the next one to come out. The second one is there are books in the series that I can continue on with, and some might be finished, some are still in the works, but I still haven't caught up with the latest release of that series. And the third category is a little bit smaller category, thankfully. Book series that I'm in the middle of that I have yet to decide whether I want to continue with the series or not. These are categories that are filled with books that are, the first one didn't really catch my attention, so I want to give it another chance with the second book, or the first one was very lowly rated by me and I just want to continue. So let's get started. Okay, starting off with the books that I have caught up with and the ones that I absolutely love, because of course I love it since I'm already caught up with all the books in the series, but these are the ones awaiting releases since the series is not finished. First series is A Court of Thorns and Roses. We are waiting on the 6th ACOTAR book. There's no word yet from SJM when we're going to get the next book of this. I'm hoping in 2025 that we're at least going to get an announcement of the 6th book. I don't have to describe this book. Everyone knows what A Court of Thorns and Roses is, and I can't wait to see who the next character is that we follow. I'm crossing my fingers for Azrael and maybe Elaine, but not quite together since I'm not on the Azrael and Elaine boat. But we shall see if this book gets an announcement next year, or hopefully it'll get released next year, but I'm not hoping it because the last update we got from SGM is that she was barely drafting the book, so we shall see. The next book series is When the Moon Hatched. I believe this is the Moonfall series, I think. If you've seen one of my other monthly wrap-ups in the beginning of my channel, I didn't give raving reviews for this because I just didn't like the execution of things. But I do want to continue on with the second book in the series, and I'm hoping it does get better. It's a typical fantasy romance, and I was really disappointed at the fact that I didn't really like it because there's so much good magic in this world, and also I like the unique concepts of dragons in this book, but I'm hoping it does get better, at least for me personally, at the next book. And this one is set to come out in fall of 2025. The next book is The Legacy series by Melissa K. Rourke. I've raved a lot about this series on my channel, and it's indie published, and the 4th book is set to come out in August of 2025. And this book is dark fantasy with fantasy romance, and it's enemies to lovers. There's a concept in here that we want to see resolved in the 4th book, and there are going to be 4 books in this series, and the last book will come out in August 2025. The next series is the Realms of Peril series by A.N. Cottle. The second book has been released already, and I did read the second book, which is Bound by Fate. This one I can't wait to read more of, which I'm hoping there'll be an announcement coming out within the next year or so, but from A.N. Cottle, I'm a part of her art group, and she said she still hasn't started writing it yet, so it might not come out till 2026, but I'm excited to continue on with this one. It's fae, fantasy romance, and also forbidden romance with a fated mate trope. Next series is Powerless. There are 2 books currently out. It's going to be a trilogy, and the 3rd book, Fearless, is set to come out in May of 2025. I've done a reading vlog on this as well, and I was kind of disappointed by what happened in the second book because of a second book syndrome, but I still want to continue it because it is a trilogy and I might as well finish it out, and I am curious on what's going to happen between Peyton and Kai. Next book series is the Quicksilver series. I'm not too sure what this one is called. I'm hoping the next book will come out in 2025. This is one of my favorite reads of the year, as most everyone's favorite reads of the year. The love story in this with a hidden world that the female main character ends up falling into, and she ends up being an alchemist with alchemy power, which is a unique magic system that I want explored more. And I love her and Kingfisher together, and Kingfisher has a mouth on him, so highly recommend, and I can't wait to continue the series next year because of the big cliffhanger that happened. Next book series is the Phantasma series. This is the first book that came out in September, and the second book is supposed to come out in April or May, sometime in spring of next year, and it's going to follow the sister. If you haven't read it yet, this is a mixture of Caraval with Trials and also Danny Phantom. Same pattern as Caraval as well, because this book follows two sisters and this one follows the first sister and the second book follows the second sister. And highly recommend if you're looking for the spooky, dark fantasy, paranormal vibes. Next book series is Metal Singer by Rachel Schneider. This book ended off in such a huge cliffhanger, and I love that it's getting so much love. She is an indie published author. We're hoping that the second book will come out in 2025. Next book is the Magnolia Park series. The Magnolia Parks universe consists of Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates, and we are currently waiting the finished parts of Daisy Hates books. And Jessa Hastings has said that there's 2 more books coming out, which are going to be focused on Daisy Hates and her romance with Christian Hemis. And I can't wait to finish this because I am so anxious to see what is happening between Daisy and Christian, since the last book that came out was about Magnolia and BJ, and their love story is finished in these books and we won't be getting their POVs anymore. But I'm excited to finish off Daisy's and Christian's story. The next book series is the Crimson Moth series by Kristen Casarelli. This book is also known as Heartless Hunter in the US, and this is the UK cover. I can't wait to see the conclusion of the story as well. I think it's going to be a duology, and the second book is coming out in the beginning of February, I believe, of next year. And I can't wait to see the conclusion of it because of the huge cliffhanger that we were left off with, and it was another twist. It's a enemies to lovers and to enemies, I think, because of the ending, and I can't wait to see what the conclusion is. I've seen a bunch of people get the arcs for it for the second book, and they've been giving good reviews and how the ending has been really good, so I can't wait to read it myself. And the last book series that I'm waiting a new release for is the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros. I can't wait till Onyx Storm comes out in January. It's coming out on my birthday next year, and I can't wait to binge that series because the second book was criminal with how it ended. Another fantasy romance that is set in a war college with a lot of dragons, and I love how the dragons are portrayed in this series, and it's one of my most loved series from last year. I can't wait to continue on with the series in January. And this next series is the Legends of Thesmar series by Helen Scher. I'm actually in the middle of the second book currently. I am maybe a quarter of the way through, and I'm enjoying it so far. There are 2 more books in the series and it's completely finished. This is sort of like a training sequence kind of book where it's a female learning how to join the shield bearers, and since women are not allowed to join. And I love the love story in this, and the banter is really good between the 2 main characters, and there are shadow wraiths in this book. The next book series that I'm also in the middle of reading the third and last book is The Last Hour series by Cassandra Clare. I am making it my goal to completely catch up with the whole entire Mortal Instrument series in the next year, and I am currently on The Last Hour series. I read Mortal Instruments in high school, but I didn't finish it, so I'm hoping to read that next year. I do own it physically, and I'm hoping to catch up with it, and I'm also hoping to read The Dark Artifices as well, but I'm currently in the middle of this one. I think I'm about halfway through, in all honesty. I might finish it within this week, so I think I'm gonna be able to catch up with the series before the end of this year. But this completed trilogy, that is another series in the Shadowhunter series. The next book series that is completed that I have more books to read in is the Plated Prisoner series. I'm currently on Glow. I read the first 3 books and binged it, and then when I got to the ending of the 3rd book, I kind of lost the fire of binging the series, and I want to start this book soon. It's just that I have no desire to right now. I was hoping that the way that it ended in the last book was how it was supposed to end completely within the series, so I don't know how the rest of the series is going to continue because of how it ended in the last book. But I do want to finish the last 3 books, since the most recent one was Goldfinch, and that's the completed series. So this one's a dark fantasy romance, sort of a reimagining of the King Midas story. The next book series is the Kindred's Curse saga. I have not read the 3rd book yet because I'm waiting to hear when the 4th book will come out, which is, I believe, going to be called Burn of the Everflame, and I'm hoping that it'll be released within the first half of the year so that I can continue with this series as well. These books are known to have huge cliffhangers. The next book series is The Celestials of Arcadia by Kale DeVore. This is the first book of this series, and I believe a prequel came out as well. It's such a book that's filled with twists and turns of the story. It's not only a love story, but also a unique magic system consisting of elemental magic and kinetic energy magic. And I can't wait to continue with this series. I want to read the prequel first, and if you are considering picking up the series, make sure to read this book first before reading the prequel, because you will get spoiled by a lot of things that happen in this book by reading the prequel. The next book series is of God and Monsters. I'm currently on the second book of the series, and it's called The Throne of Broken Gods. And with how it ended in the last book, I can't wait to continue this one. And I'm hearing that the FMC is going to be sort of like a revenge arc because of things that happened in the first book. It's a fantasy romance set in a world of gods and monsters where there's like unique creatures like shapeshifters called Igmorthins, and our female main character is an Igmorthin. But I can't wait to read the second book. There's another book in the series, and the fourth book is set to come out in August of 2025. And it's going to be a 7-book series. The next series is the House of Devils series. It's supposedly going to be either a 5 or 6 book series. No confirmation on that yet, but there are currently 3 books out, and I am on the second book. I completely fell in love with this series after I read the first book last month. And this book follows a very, very morally gray character named Darren Castle. His relationship with Lauren. Lauren is a human, and he's sort of a bounty hunter, a magical bounty hunter who is one of the top, and everyone is afraid of him besides the girl. And with the girl, he's such a cinnamon roll. He will do anything for her, and I'm so in love. And he is slowly moving his way up to my top 5 book boyfriends. Can't wait to continue on with the series. They're big chunkers, so I don't want to rush through this. I want to take my time. And I'm loving the series so far because it's what I was hoping Crescent City was going to be. This one's much darker, and it's a lot more dangerous than Crescent City was, I believe. I feel like Crescent City was a lot more tame compared to this one. I'm so in love, and I'm currently reading this as well. I am one of those people who reads multiple books at once because I like to switch through. My attention is really bad. I need to cycle through different books in order to keep my reading fire going. Next book series is the Tales of Weeping Hollow by Nicole Fiorina. The first book of the series was Hollow Heathens, and I love that series, but I heard this one is better. This series is an interconnected standalone where they follow different couples who live in the town of Weeping Hollow. We got introduced to this character at the end of the book, so I can't wait to continue the series as well. This book is part of the Kingdom of Light series, and this one is called A Crown This Cold and Heavy. And this book sort of follows a sort of hybrid, half-fae romantasy, kind of reminds me of Lorcan and Ali traveling together from Throne of Glass. This book is the 3rd book in the series, and I am almost done with it. It's an okay series. I'm not going to say that it's going to be one of my favorite fantasies of all time, but I am loving it so far, and I just want to catch up with the series, and it's completed, and it's a 4-book series. And the last book series that I'm currently in the middle of that I have books to read in is the Red Rising Saga. This book is the 2nd book in the Red Rising Saga. It's called Golden Sun, and it's by Pierce Brown, and it's sort of like a sci-fi, high fantasy kind of story, and I really enjoyed the first one, so I'm excited to continue with this one. I don't believe it's finished. I think there's 6 books out right now. I currently own all of them, and I can't wait to fully catch up with the series. And I believe the 7th book should be coming out next year. No confirmation yet, but I'm hoping to catch up before the last one comes out. And then the next category is the last few books that I don't have physical copies of because I read it on my Kindle through Kindle Unlimited. I'm debating whether or not I want to continue with the series, with multiple reasons. The first one is Flawless by L.C. Silver. This one is a cowboy romance, and I'm still debating whether or not I want to continue it because the first book was completely meh to me. I did not like the story. I thought the whole entire family dynamics was great. The reason why I want to finish it is because I hear so many people rave about this series, and I'm just trying to figure out why. Can you let me know in the comments below if I should continue this series or not, if you find it worthwhile? I heard the second book does get better, and I do want to continue on with it because it is in Kindle Unlimited, so I just want to see what the fuss is about. And I heard the first one is not the best, so maybe I will get along better with the second one, or maybe cowboy romance is just not for me. But I will continue on with the series, and I'm seeing by the end of the second book to see if I actually want to finish it or not. The next book series is The Secrets of the Nile by Isabel Ibanez. I did not like the first book whatsoever. I thought it was poorly written. I thought the execution was done poorly. The romance between the 2 characters was non-existent, and I felt like they were just being forced together. And I thought the female main character was very immature for the things that she was dealing with. And I didn't enjoy it at all. And also I read the reviews of the second book, which is What the Library Hides, I think that's what it's called. And I read the reviews of the second book, and I'm still getting the same feelings from it because everyone is telling the same thing, how the execution was poor and how the characters do not evolve whatsoever. whatsoever. So I might decide to DNF this series, we shall see, or I might just decide to read the second book just to finish it off and that's it. But I don't know if I should force myself to do that if I didn't enjoy the first book. And the last series that I'm still deciding whether or not I want to continue with, the Darkness series by Stacey Marie Brown. Stacey Marie Brown is known for her Savage Land series, and I just want to finish the series to get to the next one so that I can connect with a lot of the characters. But in all honesty, if the second book is still written the same way as the first one, I might not continue it and I might just move on to the next series. I just don't like having to force myself to read series that I'm not enjoying. If I'm dragging through the mud while trying to enjoy the series, then I don't want any part of it, because reading is my favorite hobby, and imagining trying to force myself to read a book that I don't want to read is just torture for me. So I might not continue it, but we shall see. I haven't fully decided yet whether or not I want to continue it. I might read the second book and decide from there. Those are the book series that I'm currently in the middle of. Let me know in the comments if there are any of these books that you're currently in the middle of as well. But thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.